Welcome back, everybody. So we have big choices and lots of them when it comes to either picking a brand of a rifle to go with, like this Blackout Quantum Mark II, or the little accessories that we are going to put on that, especially if we are doing a build, or just adding those little things to a more basic rifle setup. And today we're going to talk about 3 things that I pay attention to and look for specifically, whether I am buying, building, or upgrading, that are like the not major components. So not the bolt, the barrel kind of thing, upper, lower receiver. These are 3 items that I really look for. And the reason I look for these items is because they are going to add performance, make performance easier, and most importantly, not impair function or safety. Now on to talking about these 3 tough choices when it comes to parts. And then we will talk about the concerns you need to take into account when doing any of these to ensure things are going to go right for you. And number 1 on this list is going to be one of my favorites to start with or place into a build that I'm doing or upgrade, and that's going to be an ambi safety. Now there's a lot of reasons for this. One, you may have to do some offhand stuff. You may have a thumb injury and have to use your primary finger, offside drill, whatever it is. There are a lot of reasons to have an ambidextrous control when it comes to a safety selector. Now my preference when it comes to these safety selectors is one that is a 45 degree. And a lot of the ones out there, my favorite being the Radians. They make an amazing product. Everything from the ease of install to the quality of them is a 45 degree, or one that can be 45 or 90, because there's plenty of those out there. And of course, one that has a stubby offside. Now the reason I want a stubby offside is so it doesn't impact my hand or the web of my thumb and forefinger, because that can cause some issues, especially if it's a 90 degree throw on it. So it's definitely something to take into account. There are tons of options out there. Lots and lots of different brands make them. I think everyone's making an ambi safety. Buy quality, buy once, don't do it twice. Get a good one, really good, that you can really get fairly decently in price. And number 2 on that list is going to be a good ambi charging handle. The reason for this is because when it comes time to work that thing, you need to have a positive engagement, a positive feel, and be able to get that bolt up and running. When it comes to choosing a good ambi charging handle, you've got a ton of options. Everything from Radian, again, one of my favorites, Blackout Defense, again, CMMG makes a great one, and a ton of other companies out there. One thing to pay attention to, the size. They come in all different types of variants, long on one side, short on the other, long on both sides, extra long on both sides, or a little bit more stubby. Tons of options out there, so choose wisely and see if you can get them in your hand first. But there's a lot of good reason to have an ambi charging handle, especially if you're training, working, or doing anything in an inclement environment, whether it's extreme cold or extreme heat, wet conditions, anything like that, because you want that real positive engagement with that charging handle. We all know the mil-spec ones, yes, they've been on those rifles for a very long time. That is the mil-spec. I think everyone who's actually run an AR for work or any kind of capacity like that, or even M4s and like that, it's just not the best. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use it, but there might be a better option. So always keep that in mind. As long as you are gaining performance, making performance easier, and not impairing function or safety, you get that proficiency and performance on demand. Now, congratulations on your attention span, because we have made it to number 3, proving that we both have longer attention spans and that we can count. And this is where the butt hurt begins, because we're gonna be talking about triggers like this Blackout Defense right here. Just a nasty one. Great choice. But when it comes down to triggers, first off, there is nothing wrong with mil-spec. You can run a mil-spec like I did for many years, do just fine, and be super fast with it. Check out Mil-Spec Mojo. He runs predominantly mil-spec triggers from my understanding, and that dude is like speed lightning kind of fast. So nothing wrong with him, but remember again, just because it's mil-spec and it's standard doesn't mean there isn't something better. Me personally, my favorite trigger is that Blackout Zero, but there's a lot of choices. Blackout, Timney, Velocity, Trigger Tech, Hyperfire. There are so many options out there, you can get lost in them. One thing I will caution you is know the purpose of your rifle. Duty, work, fun, competition. What is it? And choose your trigger accordingly. The one thing I will tell you when it comes to trigger brands like Geisley, those big names out there, when you start telling your friends you're into a different version than the one they have, it's like you told them their baby was ugly, because they're going to get angry and tell you how whichever brand they choose is the best. Try all the ones that you can. Go in stores. A lot of times they will have them in stores in like a little group that you can actually touch them, and feel the break on them, and then make your own decision. Just again, remember, what is the purpose of it? Because you don't want to go using competition stuff for hard work use kind of stuff, because it might just be too light. Now let's talk about the concerns with all three of these parts, because there are a group of people out there, and let me know if you're one of them, that say you should never change anything. There are also a group of people out there that say if it's very basic, change everything. And then there's a happy medium where you get that proficiency in performance and performance on demand without impairing function. And that's where we're really looking for, and that is the camp I fall in. So when we're talking about an ambi safety, what are our concerns? One, gotta be safe. Stick with the bigger brands on this. Choose which one you like, maybe try one or two. Get one that is worth spending the money on, otherwise you're gonna end up buying it twice. A couple things to take into account when you're working with an ambi safety is, what is your environment? Are you working in and out of vehicles? Are you working out of armored vehicles? Are you wearing heavy kit? Because even with a standard safety, there is always the opportunity for your gear or a vehicle, especially if it's an armored vehicle and there's a bunch of you guys piling out of the back of it or piling into it, that safety selector could get flipped off. Now, do you double it with an ambi? No, but it just adds a percentage more, I don't know what the percentage is, of opportunity, which is why anytime you see anybody with any amount of training, I know when I was in the Rangers in the Army and as a law enforcement officer, I was always trained that if I ever broke my primary grip right here, which is finger straight along the frame and my thumb is up on that safety, if that was ever broke, the first thing I do is I work the safety. I swipe up to ensure that it's still on safe. That's just a natural reaction for me, but anytime I lose that primary grip contact, I am readjusting and ensuring that that safety and that equipment is in the condition I want it in. So always take that into account and know your gear and know how that gear is going to affect the tool you're using. And that charging handle. So really what we want to look for here is, again, gear, vehicle operations, things like that. Know what you're going to use this thing for. You might not want the big, Batwing style one that looks like it could fly away on its own, but you may want a more medium size, kind of rounded off corner, because you can accidentally activate a charging handle, especially coming out of vehicles or coming from that depressed muzzle ready in a tight space like a trailer park, which you end up operating in a lot of times, or something that compact. And when you punch out, you can catch gear with that charging handle. You always need to take that into account. The one other thing I will say, and I've only seen this once, coming out of an armored vehicle, I have seen a charging handle get stuck on the door of that armored vehicle and it broke that thing right off. It was like a 1 in a million. I've seen it once, but it can happen. So you need to take those into account. But other than that, there's a lot of great charging handles out there, and some of them are actually designed specifically for suppressors or less gas. So do your research there, and again, stick with a solid brand. And the trigger, what do we need to take into account here? Obviously, number one, safety. Don't go with some weird Bubba down by the river fly-by-night brand. Choose a reputable brand, whether it's a mil-spec style like a Geisley, a drop-in like a Blackout. You have got to choose something that you know you can trust in that name, and know the chosen purpose of that rifle. If you're gonna stick a Timney Daniel Horner competition trigger, which is like adjustable from 1.5 to 2 pounds or up, that probably should be a competition or range setup only. When it comes to something you're gonna use for work or for duty, a self-defense, a real go-to rifle for hard use, you're probably gonna wanna stick in that 4.5, or even maybe 5 pound. And you really gotta train anything new, whether it's any of these parts, into your pattern, because they're gonna make a big difference in the operation, snapping that rifle up. Whatever you're gonna do, you need to know what it's gonna feel like, because going from a mil-spec to a Blackout, it's gonna blow your socks. But whether you are old or new to the game here when it comes to outfitting your rifle or building or buying or what to look for, I wanna know where you're at in the spectrum of how it comes, because now these companies are really adding most of this stuff on these nicer, higher end rifles. So is it something that we should all look at to update maybe our older rifles, kind of like that old 2007 Bushmaster I'm doing the build on? I will link that down below for you to check out. That's an old dog that needed some new parts. Let me know in the comments where you're at or what your favorite part or brand is, especially when it comes to the trigger, because like I said, you tell somebody you don't like their chosen trigger brand, and it's like you told them their baby's ugly. And now that all that talk is over, let's make this official and go ahead and subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and of course, leave that comment. Check that first link for the build list in the description. Get out there, have some fun on the range, get some training classes in, learn how to use these things better. Remember, you're looking for that proficiency and performance on demand. I will see you guys on the next one.